I think it's time that we start talking about what has to happen here. I know it's getting late, but let me just share with you a couple things that, as I've looked this thing over, have bothered me, and I just think at some stage of the game, everybody ought to have the opportunity to just flat out make some commitments. When it comes to the basics, I think there is room for negotiations and there are room for compromises. But when it comes to certain things, there is no compromise. And I don't think this is going to come as a surprise to you, but sometimes we have to rededicate ourselves to what has to happen. When it comes to the defense of our country, there will be no compromise. The first and foremost requirement of the federal government is to make darn sure that we have the greatest defense of any country in the world and that our borders are absolutely safe, and that is their primary responsibility. Second of all, when it comes to our religious freedom, no federal bureaucrat and no federal elected officer, including the President of the United States or the Attorney General or anybody else, is going to take our right to express our religious beliefs. There will be absolutely no compromise on our freedom to express religion the way that we see fit. With regard to the Second Amendment to the Constitution and our right to bear arms the way that our Constitution laid out, that right, and it's been there since the beginning of our country, there will be no compromise in the defense of our right to bear arms in this country. There will be absolutely no compromises made when it comes to protecting our farmers and our ranchers, who are truly the stewards of the land, from the invasive attacks by federal bureaucrats who don't know the difference between the front end and the back end of a horse. And they don't even understand in most cases that chocolate milk does not come from a brown cow. And these are the same federal bureaucrats that I suspect would tell you that food probably comes from Kessler's. Oh, and by the way, I suspect that if you asked them and you said that you were eating tiger meat, they would wonder why you were eating an endangered species. These folks have been out, they've knocked on the doors of farmers and ranchers. They fully intend right now to claim that all water in the United States is navigable so that they can control what you do, whether it be a farm pond or not. There is no compromise in our absolute commitment that the federal government has got to get out of the way of the farmer and the rancher and allow them to do what they do best, which is to be the steward of the land in our country. I look back at this thing and I say there's one more thing that we absolutely have to say, and that is flat out, there will be no compromise. We have to demand federal fiscal responsibility in the operation of this country. It is time to take nothing else for an answer, but to say forget about the procedures and the policies and get down and get some results. Because right now there are no results. There's only a matter of whether or not they dot their I's and they cross their T's. And nobody is demanding that they balance the federal budget. There should be no compromise allowed.